Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, well, my pleasure.
And we have a camera here. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, of course, that's fine. I haven't tried it this way, so I'm not sure. Okay, I'll sit tight and I'll grab my equipment.
Okay.
So, you got that mounting tab, and we'll just slide that in to get it roughly placed. Just yeah, and so slide that in between.
Yep.
Perfect. And then this side goes up. I get you put one of these clips on each side of that cross brace. And these things, you can see it's got a little bit of a Y pattern, a V pattern to it. So,
Okay, just like that.
yeah, and because the where that cross brace is takes more load, you have to put one on each side.
Okay.
This is like so, and then you're good. And so theoretically, at this point, you can actually just let go of that.
Oh.
And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and then from here, you kind of just line it up front and back a little bit. Basically, if you just get it on each corner, then you can do hands off, and then just do the rest of the alignment.
Okay. Yeah.
So, you got it, perfect. Before we get too many of these things, and actually is taking the plastic off.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's going to put you in the butt. Can that be the noise level?
So you created the EV glass. Can you tell us a little bit about the EV glass, what it is, what it does?
Yeah, sure. The idea for the EV glass was to help the Tesla community, and hopefully eventually the rest of the EV community. With the cold temperatures, we lose a lot of our efficiency. You know, it could be as much as half of the efficiency of the car, depending on how far north you are and how cold it gets. I didn't see Tesla doing too much to address that. They had the heat pump, which is wonderful. I don't have the heat pump in my car, but all the new Teslas do. That helps.
Yeah.
But even that isn't going to help too much when it gets down to like -10, -20. Another thing that occurred to me is that, again, working with Elon Musk's first principles, is you want to keep things as simple as possible. So the Teslas are incredibly efficient because they really focus on things like efficiencies, aerodynamics, incredibly efficient motors, very efficient and energy-dense batteries, but they really left out the insulating part. So in order to maintain heat in the car, of course, there's two ways to do it, right? You can either produce a whole bunch of heat, or you can save a bunch of heat.
When you first reached out to me and I looked at the product on the website, it was obvious to me that, like, of course, this totally makes sense. In winter, I always notice that there's about an inch of space from the glass that is always really cold. Without the EV glass, what is it normally happening with the outside temperature, the glass roof, and the inside temperature?
Yeah, it's extremely rare to have a house that has single pane glass. On the upper floor of our house, we have a beautiful stained glass window. This thing's like 4 feet by 5 feet or something. It's gorgeous. It's right beside the bedroom, or right beside the bed. But that just happens to be single pane glass. That's the only example of single pane glass I know of in anybody's house these days. But that one, during the winter, it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
You walk past that panel and you can feel the cold. It gets all sorts of condensation on it, and when you put your hand just below where the window is, you can feel that draft of cold air coming down from the window. So it's just a nightmare. The thought of having an entire house with single pane glass, obviously it's just not doable.
No, yeah.
So this isn't something that a lot of people have experienced. They're accustomed to double and triple pane glass. They don't really know it. But if you're in your car and it's -20 out or even -10, and you put your, just like you experienced, you put your hand near the glass, you notice how cold it is.
Right.
If you're stationary in the car, then the temperature of the glass would be somewhere around freezing. As soon as you start moving and you start getting that airflow past the car, the temperature of that glass plummets. So with the extremely simple concept of the double pane, then the acrylic plastic itself, it does have some insulating properties, but really it's that air gap that you're creating. So the EV glass has a rubber seal, and then you're creating like an inch or something. It really varies where its placement is on the car, but you get a significant air gap, and that's really what protects you from that cold air. I wanted to make the product removable. It's primarily for cold temperatures, but it's really nice if you can just leave it up there all the time. And it will, for some of the clients, they will get some benefit during the summer, because you get a little bit of that energy saving for your AC during the summer. So that's been an aspect of it which hasn't been a primary focus, but it seems to work quite well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to test out the temperature.
Yeah.
You do have a heat gun with you?
Yeah.
Can I borrow it for my test?
Of course.
Once I'm done, I'll ship it back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All of a sudden it's snowing again, which makes this the perfect weather to test out the EV glass. Right now I'm parked under some parking structure so I can make my dinner. But later in the night I'll park somewhere outside and I can make some proper measurement to see if the EV glass does make any differences. Let's get some quick food going. So I've only had the EV glass for 2 days. I haven't done any measurements yet, but I can already tell you that there is a noticeable difference, and it's huge. The tiny layer of acrylic is oddly effective. Right now the outside temperature is at 0 degrees Celsius, which is right at the freezing point. And in the cabin I have my climate set on 19 degrees Celsius, which isn't hot in any ways at all. For my eye and above, like, it's so warm that it's almost hot. The heat is really trapped in as much as possible instead of dissipating it out through the glass. It's gonna be really difficult to describe it unless you feel it yourself. And this is the perfect time to whip out the thermal gun. Okay, trying to be safe here. Okay, here you go. So first test, let's do the driver's side window. It's 4.4 degrees Celsius. Let's check out the passenger front. Identical, 4.4. Now, moment of truth. Oh my goodness, this is nuts.
15.6? What the heck? This is crazy. Like, what? Okay. Yeah, just making sure. Yeah, 15.3. This is huge. It's like more than 10 degrees difference. I am staying at the hotel parking lot tonight. Getting some free juice before heading my way to BC. Okay, so the climate has been off for an hour. I am in my sleeping bag and I'm setting a timer for 1 hour. I'll make the temperature measurements an hour from now. It's now 1:42, time for testing. Alright, this is the back passenger side window. -4.7 degrees Celsius. And then let's try the front driver side. Exactly the same. And now the top. 8.2. Okay. A little bit towards the front. 6.9. Okay. The piece with EV glass is still warmer. Okay, the EV glass is really impressive in terms of functionality. It does what it claims to do, and you'll notice a big difference in heating efficiency, especially when you're driving. Of course, there are some downsides. For the Model Y, you'll notice a pretty big support beam that's running across the glass. At first, I wasn't really a big fan of this, but I'm starting to get used to it. And because I'm in the car so much, driving so much all the time, I'm happy to overlook this for the functionality. But this is not as bad as I thought it would be. It's okay, to be honest. And the clips right here, those are the pieces that are holding the entire glass, and they're starting to disappear from my mind. So they're like blending in a little bit more better now. My EV glass was given to me by Paul, but I'm truly impressed of how effective this thing is. I'll leave the product link in the description. Check it out if you're interested. I haven't done any summer testing, but it's supposed to help cooling as well. Those of you who are living in summer climate, maybe I'll give you guys an update to see how effective this is for cooling when it's summer here. Okay, I'll see you guys next time for an adventure. Cheers.